position with the Leshrac will make it so that the only spell that he can really easily cast is his ultimate, because the Battery Assault will counteract everything else. And Bounty Hunter and Clockwork are very aggressive heroes. Just that duo is going to be very involved against the enemy safe lane. And I'm not sure Dazzle is the ideal response. There's a lot of great things you can do with Dazzle, but one of them isn't control your safe lane when it comes to a Bounty Hunter roaming on you constantly. He'll disrupt the pulling, the jungle play that you're going for. He'll just, whenever you're away from tower, just poke and prod at you and harass you. And even if you go for some early Dust or Sentries, you can't really punish him with just the Dazzle slow. You need a little bit more than that. So I was expecting more disables on paiN Gaming supports, but they go with the Dazzle and seem to have a clear plan with it.
Yeah, and then the question is, which way do you go with disables? Do you go like down the Earthshaker route and actually have him in that holding role, sitting between mid and the safe lane? He's decent, you know, against a Bounty Hunter. You can still get that Fisher down, but you always kind of look towards heroes like Gyrocopter, a hero in the safe lane that can farm. Yeah, there's the ES ban, kind of expecting that. But a hero like Gyrocopter for paiN Gaming here, something that if there is a dust on Dazzle, you could do a ton of damage back to the Bounty if he does get caught out of bounds.
Alright, and I'm just being messaged by Fly himself. Whatever has an alias of I'm 2B, and Tiburon has an alias of J, so we can use the ones we see before us, or those, kind of whatever works, but yeah, they are trying out these guys here, and we'll see how they perform. Already getting very involved cores. Like, these heroes, with their skill shots in particular, are very active in the mid-game stage. They want to, obviously, still farm up a bit to get themselves on a level where they're durable enough, or where they're putting out enough damage in the case of the Wind Ranger, but overall, still, we're going to be seeing them make action happen sooner rather than later. And then the Naga Siren here is going to be on the side of paiN Gaming, opens up a couple of different possibilities, and that's the great thing about the Naga Siren pick. It's a very flexible pick, in which case you can either go for the Dazzle Naga support duo, which is very powerful, thanks to the combination of their ultimates and the negative armor and all of those good things. And then, of course, you also have the option of Naga Siren actually being a carry hero. Now, in this context, I think support Naga is pretty solid, because the level 1 ensnare is great for locking down the Bounty Hunter, but yeah, it really all comes down to what they're looking for out of their cores.
I've really liked supporting Naga recently. I think the kind of carry Naga, it takes a little bit too long to get up and running. If you are aiming for that, 15 or so minute radiance, 16 to 70 minutes, it can get dragged on a little bit too long, while very active heroes, the Void Boys you've mentioned already have, Clockwork Bounty and our Wind Ranger. They don't need too much time. They don't need big items to get themselves up and running. And if you follow up with a Disruptor, Naga Siren, you can see her being in a support role. Dazzle with that combo, the Illusions with the Shadow Wave. Also, pretty good at setting up something like a Gyrocopter that I was looking for to try and farm the safe lane. He's always a great combination hero with a Leshrac as well. Slow down with a cooldown, allow Lesh to close the gap on people, get into the midst of the fight. But the ban's out for paiN. Winter Wyvern and Storm. Storm, okay, he's a difficult, elusive hero that you can actually, have difficulties handling a lot of the time. You can zip around and get onto that Leshrac, especially if there's, a relatively early Orchid on him. Can cause a lot of troubles, but paiN, they go with the Gyro.
I think it's pretty solid. I've seen this draft used against me a couple times when I'm playing some scrims, and it's actually really strong, though. The fact that you can get that negative weave armor so high and then unload the flat cannon right there and then. If you can also set up a split earth right when the song ends, you're able to probably get a good 2-second stun on 2 different heroes, while Gyrocopters are putting out hit after hit of this AoE physical damage, and it's just really difficult to deal with. Whenever they connect with like a 3 or 4 man song with a Siren, when you're just a little bit too clumped together, maybe sieging a tower, they can punish you very extensively. So I'm expecting a lot out of this, and then if the Naga needs to transition into a semi-core, so be it. That's if the game gets past it. But Void Boys, I think they're going to look to be more involved now and look to pursue the Gyrocopter. If they can kill him enough times before he's able to acquire a BKB, then they're going to be able to take the most advantage out of their draft.
Oh, the Nyx ban kind of caught me off guard there. I'm not sure what they're looking for. Void Boys, I'm kind of assuming Wind Ranger mid, she does decently match up against the Leshrac. She's got great attack animation and decent attack damage. Still gets spammed out by the lightning a fair amount, but rune control with the Bounty Hunter shouldn't be too difficult, especially up towards the top rune. Seeing as their dire side, Dazzle and Naga kind of have the bot rune on lockdown the majority of the time. But the Nyx ban, does this indicate they want to go for like an int, another int hero as one of their cores, maybe towards the safe lane? Or are we even looking towards a Medusa or something like that?
No, I don't think it's that indicative of the next pickup. I mean, it definitely could be here that's slightly countered out, maybe does some good AoE damage in the fights, but mostly it's just a really good offlaner that's really hard for Disruptor to zone out by himself. Because you have to remember the Bounty Hunter is going to be in the off lane, or in the mid a little bit. He's going to be roaming to and fro there, but the top lane, where the Disruptor and perhaps the Wind Ranger is going to be, really Disruptor's job will be to zone in this example, a Nyx Assassin out, and if he has like a Mango, he has all this HP regen, so the Disruptor doesn't have the damage to force the Nyx away. He's going to get full experience to level 6, and then he's going to start hunting. And Bounty Hunter, he's good for getting invis detection after they unveil themselves, but not before. Still, the Zeus does come out, and this is a hero that does good AoE damage and would be affected by both the mana burn and the Carapace quite significantly.
Oh yeah, ticks both boxes. Into core, big AoE damage, and yeah, you mentioned the Mangoes on Nyx. I still can't get over the amount of times I've seen double Mango Nyx and his 5.3 HP regen or whatever it is. It always catches me off guard. But that does push Wind Ranger up to the top lane, safe lane. Wind Ranger, Bounty roaming around, and Disruptor just stacking and pulling. Controlling the jungle on his own. paiN Gaming, though, still waiting and looking for their offlaner. And to be fair, there aren't that many really strong, big offlaners still out there. You know, Earthshaker, he was played offlane for quite some time, but banned out. He's kind of faded out recently. But Undying, Queen of paiN, both gone. Clockwork picked up. What actually is there out there that you would like to put up
not too
there?
bad.
Okay, yeah, then you've got the full wombo combo, you know, vacuum into cooldown. Bring all things together. But against the Wind Ranger Disruptor, they've got Shackle Shot. Glimpse is a great ability up against that Darkseer.
Yeah, I mean, it's great against anybody, honestly. No matter what, you're going to have survivability issues, but I think Darkseer can hide under tower a little bit more than most other off-laning heroes, and that would probably be my pick, but it really depends on how fast he could really farm up that mech and pipe under those circumstances. If he feels like Wind Ranger Disruptor with their dual ranged auto attacks are just going to kill the Iron Shield creep over and over again, then quick enough, and that means the Zeus is going to be doing way too much damage for them to deal with.
Well,
so
paiN could
maybe
go
go for a 4-staff core instead.
paiN could go aggro tri lane here with the Naga Dazzle Gyro, and they could, you know, technically look for a safe lane hero actually to deal with the Clockwork. That's definitely a possibility. You know, we've looked at the defensive and kind of hold your own capabilities of Naga Dazzle as a support duo and snare the Bounty Hunter and stop him in his tracks for a while. But if they go up there, Wind Ranger's, you know, elusivity with her Wind Run isn't that great up against Ensnare, Homing Missile, Rocket Barrage, and like. They're taking their fair time with this.
Definitely. I mean, both ways pose their own risks as far as like getting your core, your supports off their feet as far as levels. The Dazzle for a very long time, but they're going to top of the Spirit Breaker here. So they're going to be going for that tri lane and leaving the Spirit Breaker in the off lane, just trying to get him level 2. But obviously it really comes down to if he gets a good ward out to block the pull, if he's going to be able to kind of hold that position. And there are, of course, things that will interrupt his charge. We've got the Lightning Bolt, the Glimpse, Shuriken Toss, even the Shackle Shot could. And that makes it very difficult for Tavo to really go lane to lane and engage on specific targets. Obviously, the Nether Strike's going to be really strong here, and he is tanky enough to withstand a lot of the Disruptor Wind Ranger focus, but I'm still not sure if it's going to be exactly what they need. Yeah,
and then if you look further on into the game, the Zeus with his Lightning Bolt, one aggressive ward jungle or transitioning from lane to lane. And if you get dewarded heavily by that Lightning Bolt Zeus, the Spirit Breaker does lose quite a lot of his potency during the mid-game. But we'll take a quick look at how these lanes are actually panning out. They are going to run that safe lane trial, and it looks like paiN 4DR with the Gyrocopter, CYS on that Leshrac. Given a sentry ward already. Actually, I just want to take a quick look. Does the Dire have a sentry ward on any of their heroes? Their mid-hero? Where's the Zeus? No. I guess the Zeus, once he's got Lightning Bolt, they can actually deward that just with that, but Disruptor does have a couple of sentries on him. And that's something I'm always kind of looking at, is when there's a Bounty Hunter on the field, there are just like sentries thrown everywhere towards their mid lane.
Definitely, but in this case, like they want to make sure that the Bounty Hunter can get a pretty value build to start with here. He got the Clarity and the Observer Ward as well as the Orb of Venom for himself, so all this enables him to be really active in the enemy's landing territory. And they did see that Bounty unveil himself. I don't know if they know that that means he put a ward down to block off this secondary pole camp, the medium camp there. But no matter the case, yeah, Yeah, I mean, the bounty hunter is going to be very active. Sentry and detection is going to be pretty important. But look at this wraparound. Tavo, as well as the stand-in Nagasira, making their move here. But they're essentially 2v4 in this position. Have to be very careful. Luckily, the Disruptor did skill the Thunderstrike instead of Kinetic, or they might be dead right now.
It's still looking pretty bad. I mean, Tavo, one hit from that bounty hunter is going to go down. Even the Arc Lightning and Power Shot to finish. I don't know what their plan was. Like, when I saw the Naga Siren up there, I was confused to begin with. I thought, are they running dual lanes? Is this Naga actually going to stick up there with the Spirit Breaker to try and, you know, defeat this dual lane safe lane from Void Boys? But the actual movement across, really questionable.
Yeah, I mean, if they thought that maybe there was a 4-man movement for the banner room bottom and only a 1-man movement for the banner room top, then those two heroes could enclose on that hero and grab the bounty for themselves, as well as get some good damage against whatever person is in the safe lane. But it seems very unlikely that that would happen, and they were very deliberate about their movements. So getting caught out there, very unfortunate. And yeah, it could have been 2 heroes if the kinetic field was skilled instead. So no matter what, it is pretty brutal. We're actually going to see Zeus take a lot of damage here in the mid lane. Already Fly just exhausting all of his HP mana, and the Lightning Storm will do it. Oh my, that seems like even, I wouldn't say a bigger misplay than what we saw for the first blood, but seems comparable at least.
Level 1 Lightning Storm, man, what a skill. Up at top though, the Naga getting hit down by this bounty hunter, slowed by the upper venom. Riptide just to kind of deter any more aggression, but Schwan, he wants to go in, the bash out from Tavo. That's gonna stop him. Gonna keep him away from the dainty little Naga Siren. Actually, she's not so dainty. 6 armor, 5 armor. Pretty ridiculous early on.
Yeah, and Bounty Hunter has pretty good armor to boast as well, 6 armor for him. So these guys are going to be slugging you out here, just brawling back and forth. Tavo and Zwan both have an Orb of Venom, and they're going to be fighting it out. Clockwork will be kind of pincered in on bottom, but he'll be fine. It's going to be
battle continues.
Ends up
What? This game.
Actually, they're going to dive the tower in full with this Rocket Barrage. They're going to be able to finish off the Clockwork, but yeah, I mean, they're going pretty deep for these kills.
No bounty?
It's actually going to be charged. Will they... Wait, he has greater breath skill. This could technically kill Juan if he doesn't start tangoing, but if he sees it coming, I believe he'll just hold under the tower with some tangos. Right now, he's not. This actually could be a Spirit Breaker kill.
He's gonna get to the tier 2.
Just past the Dire Observer Ward, but he canceled his charge. He doesn't really know the Bounty Hunter's HP, only his position, and he doesn't want to go that deep. So, Tavo's back to the lane at least, and again, going to be harassed pretty heavily.
Yeah, I guess you don't know if the bounty's, you know, been salved up by one of his teammates or something like that, but man, oh man, this top lane. Action galore. How are we looking at mid, though, for the Zeus? He's doing okay, 7-0. The Leshrac obviously winning this lane out early on. The bottle was being brought out to fly. A few wards, that little sentry ward. This Wind Ranger, Blades of Attack, first up. Trying to get into the phase boots, but it's all harassment here.
And even the Bounty Hunter is coming in, delivering the bottle directly here, so then they're going to be able to get Fly with the mana more quickly, get him more involved in this lane. They actually drafted the Zeus to like kind of hold his own against Leshrac. Not necessarily like trouncing him in the mid lane, but at least keeping equal offensive CS and maybe losing out on a couple of denies. But in this case, the Leshrac, with obviously his own solo kill, is just pushing the advantage here in mid, and I think Fly's going to need a little bit of help, a couple more roaming movements from the Bounty Hunter, but you're talking about the sentry wards. They were able to tango one of their own sentries and get map control, but just having 2 just allows them to hold position.
Gyro bot lane's been slowed up and the batteries won't finish him. Schwan comes in, and that was a great movement across. No support in sight, as Dazzle is doing like you were mentioning. Stacking, pulling, getting his own experience, because he's pretty level dependent. Needs to get up into the grave as quickly as he can, but this level 4 Clockwork finding a nice juicy kill for himself. Getting up to level 4.5, then they're going to chip away a little bit at the tower. There's Bounty Hunter really making his presence felt early on. 0-0-2, a couple of assists to his name. I'd like to get towards mid lane and potentially find a kill on the Leshrac. You know, now that Zeus is about, you know, getting close to hitting level 5, the 2 in Lightning Bolts. Look at that range. The Lightning Storm. Leshrac.
Yeah, very powerful hero. If you ask me, the Seeking range on the Lightning Storm, the bounces is probably a little bit too long, but I mean, no matter what, he is just a pretty active hero that can be very involved. The problem with the movement here is they have to close in very quickly on the Slash because they know that the Sentry Ward's there. They saw their own Centaur Ward get killed. They know the Leshrac has detection, and actually he might have a kill. As we see now, he's going to connect with the Split Earth and the Lightning Storm, and they find a freebie as the Disruptor tries to control the top rune against two really good rune controllers.
It wasn't free. It wasn't free. That was revenge for the Leshrac. Disruptor got in and denied the rune, the sneaky little devil. The sweet revenge. Don't deny my runes or I'll take your life. The Wind Ranger with the face boots up at top, trying to get into that tier 1. He's got a pretty free route in because Tarbo's on such low HP. Maybe they try the wraparound once Bounty Hunter's down at bot. Actually, hunting and seeking this Dazzle, C4T. Very wary of his own positioning, because Schwan is just moving around the Radiant jungle, looking for stacks, and that's something you've got to be very, very wary of. Make sure that Leshrac doesn't have too many stacks up.
Yeah, but I think he has to move now because he only has 175 mana left, so if he's going to go for a Shuriken Toss gank, he needs to have this be his last invis, essentially, for a while. So he's going to maybe go in on the Leshrac if he gets assist to just push out a little bit. But he's going to see him just at the last second here. He's still hit by both spells, and that is going to be the Leshrac going down begrudgingly. Naga wants a little bit of return damage here, but really can't do too much, even though the bounty is out of mana.
Radiant's top
Wait, where did the salve go?
It looks like it was taken care of. Like, it obviously didn't take effect, and he doesn't have it on him or the courier, so it's off the market no matter what.
Yeah. I was just wondering if someone denied it, like, mid-fight or something like that, because he dropped it down. So Tarvo heads back up the top lane. This poor little Spear Breaker, the off-lane hero, Orb of Venom, Stout Shield, hasn't been able really to rotate across the map and look for any charges. Like, a charge towards mid lane could quite easily find a kill onto that Zeus. Very immobile hero, but it's vision. They don't have any vision really up on the high ground, and his long-range arc lightning, he's been sitting very close to his own tier 1 tower.
Yeah, very inactive Spirit Breaker for the laning phase here, and he's probably going to be waiting till level 6 before he makes any more movements. They're actually going to be ganking his lane with the smoke to try to at least get some damage on this Wind Ranger core. She's very vulnerable to magical damage, and that's what Leshrac packs in spades. But we're actually going to see the Disruptor caught out instead.
And he tanks the gank to make sure that the Wind Ranger is safe up at top, for now anyway. Because Naga and Leshrac are both sticking around, gonna try and dive the tower here. The charge has gone through onto the Wind Ranger, and maybe they can actually follow through here. And Snare is ready, there's the Riptide, the Minus Armor, and Lightning Storm CYS. He's gonna right click in, Tiburon is here, the Clockwork, good cogs. But can he stop this aggression? Do we have more TPs coming in? Yeah, we do. Schwan's also here. The Bounty Hunter's ready. Thunder God's Wrath. Clockwork dropping low, but CYS getting tanked up by Schwan's Bounty. Finishes them off, and a triple kill for Leshrac. It's going to make sure that the rest of paiN's going to drop, though, whatever's Disruptor. Along with Fly Zeus. That's a good commitment from Void Boys getting up there. I don't know how worthwhile that was for paiN. Diving in with the Leshrac, giving up a hell of a lot of gold, in fact. And yeah, taking a look at the fight recap, that's a good 800 gold swing and about 500 XP.
Yeah, no matter what the numbers are, with the Leshrac going down there, it feeds a ton to the side of Void Boys. They get 430 gold on the Disruptor for the Killing Spree ending, and then the Bounty Hunter gets so much in terms of experience. He was just got level 4 when he made that rotation. Now he is almost level 6, and that's going to translate into a ton of cash as he starts bringing out the tracks and the kills start coming. But I would try to offset that by talking about the damage they got on the bottom tier 1, but really, other than the glyph being forced out, Void Boys didn't lose much on that one. It's 700 HP, Gyro calls down the wave, really wants to push on that tower, and then Wind Ranger is there fast enough to respond and keep it up.
An invis rune for Zeus. That could be painful. How are we looking actually warding-wise for the Radiant? Because just a quick sort of cursory glance, they don't seem to have too much. There's a lane ward down at bot, a ward watching the entrances to their Radiant jungle. But
I do like this combo, though. The paiN Gaming Observer Sentry, this actually allows you to do a lot against the Bounty Hunter, because you see him roaming into the jungle, and if the Spirit Breaker is off the map, all he has to do is just charge on the Bounty Hunter. He can keep track of his movements constantly, and they can set up a dust play. But right now, I mean, the Spirit Breaker, like I said, he's not been very involved at all, and now all these level 6s are up for Void Boys. It's going to be really difficult to take the next fight.
Oh, look at the track on Tarvo. He's got a charge to try and get away. It's just Schwan. Yeah, a few hits in there. Once again, the Orb of Venom versus Orb of Venom combo. While Fly has popped his invis. He's relatively low on mana, but they do have the level 6 Clockwork lurking in the wings with that hookshot. Naga Siren, 1 point up in Mirror Image. could try and dodge through this and try and escape, but her HP pool isn't that great, 720, and she's actually going aggressive here and snare into Cog. Zeus is here and ready. The Naga Siren gonna tank up a ton of damage, but maybe even actually getting a kill back. The Leshrac is here with Split Earth. Tiburon getting low and the charge through. Tarbo finds the kill. CYS still though getting dealt a ton of damage to him from Schwan. They're getting counter kill trade off. Naga Siren and now Tarbo Disruptor did come in. Schwan dropped to the Leshrac, but whatever. How much freaking experience and gold did he get? He jumps to level 8.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
My goodness, that's, yeah, absolutely ridiculous for the Disruptor. Now he's going to be able to just spam with a lot of damage, and look at the Bounty Hunter's gold after that. With 3 tracks out of that fight, it's a 3 for 3, but with 3 tracks, the Disruptor goes up 930 gold, and the Bounty Hunter goes up 720. Just insanely good. Now the tower deny is maybe coming down bottom. Yeah, they've got the number advantage. They've got the destruction. Gyro does get the last down the tower at the sacrifice of the Dazzle, but with the Glimpse pulling 40R back, it looks like they'll pay with more than just that. They lose the Dazzle already, but 40R, not long for this world. No, the lightning bolt will not connect.
Neither the power shot.
And there's still a charge coming bottom.
Oh, the hook shot misses. The Split Earth now from the Leshrac. Lightning Storm, that should be a kill off onto the Clockwork. No, bottled up by the Zeus. He's kept alive. Was it? He's
got his own bottle too.
Okay. Okay. Tarvo. For some reason, did he try and go for a kill on someone? Regardless, he's dead.
He's still in range of that whole time, but yeah, no, that didn't turnaround did not go nearly as well as they thought it would. I mean, yes, 40R survives. They got the last hit on the tower, but jeez, Void Boys are really just in the trenches on this one, fighting it out.
Wow, you take a look at the gold they got from that, closing in on 1800 experience-wise, about 1650, and that's not just, a couple of heroes picking it up, that's a good spread across them all. 387 experience at this point is a good half a level. You're pushing up to level 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9. You look at the Bounty Hunter, Clockwork, Disruptor, they've got a great spread. There's no big disparity between their supports and their core heroes. And yeah, the Dazzle's still down there, level 5, Naga, level 6. She's got her song at the ready, but quick look at the net worth now. Gyrocopter's up at the top.
Look at Dazzle's net worth in particular, jeez.
Yep. 590. Poor little guy. Oh, no deny. 40R gets in there with the tower kill. Shackle shot back and the hook shot even. Tiburon with another track kill. Schwan. Wait, was it? It's not on cooldown. I thought they were going to track on the Dazzle. I saw the animation, but maybe...
Yeah, they definitely tracked him.
Okay. Plenty of money.
Yeah, Bounty Hunter actually gets the most gold out of that one, despite just assisting, and with a typical Bounty Hunter contribution, just track all the things out. Nice glimpse. Oh, that's a huge pick on the last track. This is something that paiN cannot let happen. If the track continues to set up glimpses, it pretty much means that paiN cannot be in an aggressive position at any point this game, and it's going to be essentially paramount that paiN always stay in a defensive spot, don't let the enemy get any vision whatsoever, and this means the Naga Siren has to pick up a gem of true sight very early on this game.
It was like a trifecta of awesomeness. The observer order that's about to expire in 7 seconds time gave vision for the track gave vision for the glimpse, the shackle onto an illusion of Spirit Breaker, plus a Thunderstrike and a power shot and throwing all the crap out onto the tanky illusion, but not a real hero. But yeah, I've got to agree with you, this Naga, she's got to pick up a gem. The Dazzle has no way of actually affording such a luxury item, especially when he doesn't have boots yet. He's running around with a magic wand, clarity, and TP scroll, still buying wards, while the Zeus managed to afford himself a Midas. And this is a build that I haven't seen in a long while. We saw DK Phobos do this quite a fair bit when he would go like Midas into BKB on a Zeus. Just allow yourself that continual gold income from the Midas, get yourself up to level 11, level 16, that little bit faster. Now, we've seen a lot of trending when Zeus has been picked up, kind of towards the, Yule Scepter, the very early Bloodstone, I think, is one of the more popular builds. Just tank yourself up, make sure you can stand your ground in team fights, and continually spam spells. This Midas, they know they're ahead, and that's only going to push them further ahead.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to get so much money, and obviously that does mean their deaths cost them more when the comeback soon will. I mean, the net worth factor is already accumulating towards like 3,000 advantage for Void Boys, so that's going to be really impactful very soon. But at least for the moment, the artificial gold enhancers, the track, the Midas, will be really valuable for Void Boys, getting that next item up first, and that's going to be, of course, setting them up for some really good fights. We're actually going to see here the Central Ward come out, and just narrowly the Bounty Hunter just tiptoes away from death.
Just going to track out to the left track, and Clockwork, where's he standing? He's looking for the hook shot and not going to find it just yet. Rest of paiN back up behind their tier 2s. Nice little bit of split pushing here. Tarvo getting his farm on. Treads a magic wand. This is a guy that, you know, he's 2, 5, and 2. The 5 deaths to his name don't really make up for the... Or, you know, it's not made up by his rotations early on. He hasn't actually made a massive impact, while the Clockwork has been finding hook shots left and right, setting up kills for the Zeus and the Wind Ranger. Take a quick look at this Gyrocopter, sure. Top of the net worth, but impact early on? He's got a very farm-oriented build. Helm of the Dominator, Quelling Blade, and Treads.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, it all comes down to the Ancients, really, and right now, that's not even been stacked up once. If they can stack up the Ancients 4 times, get the Gyrocopter that safely, then they can get themselves back in the game, but right now, it all comes down to the song play. They're going to try to go for a follow-up on this. Everybody's keeping in, but the Weave is unavailable at only level 5, and Gyrocopter called down, doing massive damage, taking down the Zeus quickly, but they want the Bounty Hunter too, and he's going to be on the run for a while with the Urn of Shadows intact.
There's a charge onto the Disruptor, so they're looking to actually continue on this possibly. Tarvo, a fair distance away, the rest of his team isn't really reacting. Tarvo gets the charge cancelled out by that lightning bolt. Bounty does drop in the end. To the left track and Fly. He's come back into this battle, but he's come back into a rocket barrage. Tries to kill off Tarvo, but the stick charges. Back up to 400 HP.
That is a dieback on the Zeus with his Hand of Midas off cooldown. Like, that is actually so costly for him. I really can't believe that Fly is now in this position. It was looking so good, but he actually couldn't even cast his ultimate by the end of that song, and now we see Tavo getting the charge. Will be shackled, but that just distracts them. He soaks up all the damage, and Gyrocopter's ready to fight it. Will get knocked back by the cogs twice over. There's the Shallow Grave. Tiburon will be nuked down by all this AoE damage.
And now the cooldown onto Disruptor twice. 40 Elders goes in, Disruptor down. Juan being chased back by this Gyrocopter. They're going to get this tier 1 tower. That Disruptor was on a dominating streak. That's a massive amount of gold going the way of 40R, and I was just talking about how he doesn't really have a great aggressive build. But if you've got the Song into cooldown and Void Boys give you kills and basically set up the fight for you, you don't need items to do that.
Yeah. Really solid play from the last track too. That blind stun coming out when they knew that they were approaching from the steps and getting this the nuke combo on the Bounty Hunter. That's what took him out of the fight early. Otherwise, there would have been like 5 tracks out, and Voidwiz would have probably been able to focus down one more target, and that means that much more money going into their coffers. But Joan will find himself a double damage rune, maybe going right onto 40R here. Probably needs at least a power shot to help him out, but he's nice and patient, and the Observer Ward that was on the bottom rune spawn is now expired. So smoke play comes through, and I believe 40R is going to be in some trouble.
Got 3,000 gold saved up in the bank, just waiting to see exactly what he goes for. S&Y wouldn't be bad here. BKB is obviously always going to be a great item to pick up against Zeus and Disruptor in particular. Wants it this early on. He's actually headed over to the side shot, buys a TP scroll. He's going to farm this wave, and I've got a feeling he's going to regret it. Juan here and ready. He's going to have to get the hit in now with that DD and track. Follow through, and hookshot's going to miss. 40R dodges it. Turns back with that rocket barrage, but glimpse back into the static storm. TP reaction not going to be quick enough from paiN Gaming. Juan, the bounty, is still here. Throwing tracks out, he's charged up. Tarvo, Spirit Breaker, gets the bash down onto him. Tries to push him into the little river, but CYS, the left track, pushed back by the cog. Juan, never struck down, shackle shot. Onto the last trackers, the Wind Ranger, pumping out some damage, but is it enough? Tiburon's in the middle of the Pulse Nova. Static field is holding him, kinetic field even, but the song resets everything. The calm before the storm starts again. Can they land this split earth play? Yes, they can. On to 2, whatever, along with the Wind Ranger. Pulse Nova, they've got enough damage and HP to rip through them all. Tiburon's Blade Mail, actually doing a decent amount back, but in the end, that's a pretty good trade-off. For paiN Gaming, they're going to get the Clockwork as well. There is no escape from this.
Yeah.
Or
with that, that's a 5-man wipe against Void Boys.
He's got stick. Oh, no.
No way. But a huge aspect of that team fight was actually the fact that the Nagasiren had a mechanism here at like 17 minutes. The fact that she got all those killing sprees, the fact that she was able to get all that comeback gold as the fourth position on her team, it actually means that she got enough gold for the mechanism and an absurd timing for like support that's completely at a disadvantage. So now they use that mechanism to use a couple of shadow waves to keep the Leshrac alive just long enough for him to dish out tons of damage and make that fight happen. Now, it looks like Cat's going to be in some trouble. He does get caught up by the glimpse. They show off the Dagon, but still, I gotta say, paiN have really clawed their way back into this one.
Holy crap, yes they have. And I think that's a good time to bring up the net worth graph. Void Boys got themselves... It felt like it was a much larger lead. They were only sitting about 3,000 or 4,000 net worth lead overall. It's been dragged back to 2,000 for paiN. But I guess when you look at the Gyrocopter and Leshrac, they were top of the net worth and they continue that streak. They're still up there. They never really let up farming-wise. There weren't any big stacks. There still aren't really any big stacks. That was all down to laning, taking off the streaks, and really doing well in the first 6 or 7 minutes. And now you're seeing an S&Y almost completed here for the Gyrocopter. Going for the stat scores for now, but it's also a great fighting item. Chase people down with that Yasha movement speed.
Yeah. In general, we're just seeing a lot more gold come out for both sides than you would normally see. Because of all the track, the Midas, and the comeback gold, both sides are really getting a lot of gold, and even if they're not taking that much off the map, that we're seeing a lot of big items come out. We're going to be seeing not only Dagon 1 of the Bounty Hunter, we see the Wind Ranger finishing up her Aghanim Scepter, and actually Disruptor is halfway there. Disruptor has half an Aghanims, and is looking to maybe counter out any BKB pickups with his Static Storm. So, another big aspect of that last team fight that I will mention is that the Disruptor named I'm2B, he actually used his Static Storm on the Gyrocopter, who was pretty much dead, and didn't have it for the next fight. I feel like just the Kinetic Field would have sufficed, and not having that cooldown for the subsequent engagement was actually very costly.
What are we looking at for Zeus? Still stuck on the Midas? Yep. 1,400 gold in the bank, but I don't know what he's going to be doing with that. Force Staff is always going to be good, get that mobility against the Ensnare, maybe try and get away from a charge or a Split Earth, or maybe react in time from the Song. Blink Dagger's not too shabby here either, if you can blink away again from the charge and the Song, but smoke up from paiN Gaming. They've got 4, they've got the starting Ensnare from Naga, who they're looking for. No one here. Gyro's baiting. He's again pushed out pretty hard on this lane, you know, away from his tier 1, relatively out in the open. Void Boys not getting caught this time. They're actually grouping up to take the Ancients out. The top 2/3 of the map untouched by either team as the tier 2 tower on bot. 64 HP is the objective here that paiN are looking for. That's going to be great if they want to look towards Roshan in the next 5 minutes or so. That tier 2 is incredibly important. Shackle shot with the hook. C4T Song. Not catching the Zeus, so the Thunder God's Wrath finished off the Dazzle. Call down, not going to land either because of the Song. Tiburon is in a decent position here just to wait it out. Glimpse back into the Static Storm, and there goes the Naga. No mech, no arcanes, no nothing for your team fight as 40R is holding its ground with a flat cannon. CYS, Leshrac. The run. Glimpse in 5. They've got the track. This could open it up. If they can get that glimpse
in time. Who do you glimpse though, the Gyro or the Lesh?
Oh, it's difficult. There's the Gyro. They've chosen their target, and that should be a kill. Maybe now the Leshrac as well.
Shackle shot onto Leshrac too. They're not going to have a hook shot for 30 seconds though, so it looks like the Leshrac will be able to slip out of that one. But yeah, that was an interesting call. Both of them have a high net worth value, but Gyrocopter's the one that farms a little bit more when he does get to walk away from a fight. So they take out the Gyrocopter, the highest net worth on paiN Gaming. They take a tier 1 tower, and they're going to maybe look for more. I mean, there's not much mana left on the Zeus. But, I mean, they were just so efficient in how they positioned themselves in that last fight that they still have a lot of gas in the tank. Meanwhile, like, compare that to paiN. The way that the fight broke down, they lost the Dazzle, they essentially wasted the Song because the cooldown was already out, and then they were just on the run from there. So, I really don't feel like just anything about that last team fight really showed the strength of paiN's lineup, and it just goes to show that just one error chains into another, and that can turn the entire game on its head.
Yeah, Song to try and save the Dazzle, cooldown to try and stop the rest of Void Boys from running rampant, but didn't really work out. And at that point, once you've lost your Dazzle and your mech carrier, you kind of just got to think, right, time to bail, time to get the hell out. Difficult when you've got such a great chasing and displacement lineup from Void Boys with Kraken and Glimpse back. So Leshrac, Glimmer Cape, BKB next for him. He's got 7 charges up on his Bloodstone. That's Ogre Club. It's got to be BKB. There's nothing too much else you can look for. Gyrocopter, he's going to start thinking about the same item choice himself. Well, the Dazzle, he's finally got some items. Brown boots and nearly a medallion. Nearly a medallion.
But, yeah, I guess the BKB is pretty much necessary. The Static Storm is still very painful. The Glimpse is still very painful. They need to negate those, but there are still some physical damage dealing aspects they have to be concerned about. The Focus Fire, the Hook Shot locking in with Cogs. Like, this stuff is still going to be hard to maneuver against without a Force Staff, and it doesn't look like the Naga's picking that up. Or a Pipe or a Glimmer with this Cloak, and again, I have to emphasize Vision as well. Another big pickup for the supports has got to be a Geometry Sight, and the reason I keep emphasizing this is because how good Gem is on the Naga Siren. Naga can actually always stay in the defensive position, a very safe spot, and just have her illusions move about with the Gem to deward, and it's actually really powerful. But in this case, they're just focused on combat, just focused on winning the next fight, and I don't blame them.
Okay. So something's wrong with my Dota 2. I think I'll have to fix it after the game. For some reason the resolution is a little bit wonky. I only just realized on XSplit it's not right. But yeah, I'll change that next game. Confusing things happening over to the side. Right, the Void Boys, a couple of kills ahead. Not too much in it in that respect. Net worth, the same thing. There's not a big lead for either side. Do you reckon the next big fight comes around that Roche pit? Void Boys, you know, they could look to defend it. I don't think they're going to be the aggressors in that sense, but paiN Gaming, they've got a decent side with minus armor, with a great aggressive and defensive capabilities around the Roche pit. They could, as long as they can get some good warding up, which I think is why Void Boys were looking to deward that Spire over near the Roche pit. Big fight there could determine when the next couple of tier 2s fall, when people start pushing up onto high ground.
Yes, it could be a very determining engagement, but I'm not sure that it actually comes out at the Roche. I think it's a preemption to the Roche that Void Boys smoke up and try to look for an engagement off of that, because they've got 2 smokes, while paiN actually have none in reserve. So that's a pretty big difference as far as the tools of engagement, the tools to take a fight. There is actually one on Dusky the Husky Courier. He's moving about. He's maybe actually delivering a smoke for the Radiant side, since they're all grouped up together. Since you have 5, you might as well try to make something of it. But I really think it's going to be a smoke clash for either side looking to take an easy Roshan, because when you look at it, neither side actually has a comfort in the pit. Yes, the Song of the Siren is great in the pit. Yes, the Clockwork and the Disruptor are amazing in that in particular environment, but whoever's in the pit is screwed if the other team isn't wiped out prior to it, because they've got so many ways to invade it. So I think it's pretty important that this smoke play works out for either side, and it just depends on the kind of that power spike of items, whether one team is comfortable with it or not.
Oh, Bounty Hunter. Oh, Bounty Hunter. He got the Courier snipe, gave up his life in exchange. Naga with the sentry, they find that kill. A decent takeout there. Not sure about the trade-off, but maybe if they can take Roshan, it can be worth it for them. Armlet for the Spirit Breaker. Holy crap, okay. That's not an item we see too often, you know. Midas after the treads and drums. Maybe a BKB, something along those lines. But Armlet, he wants to go in deep and battle it out with the rest of Void Boys. But there's no contest. Roshan is going to be freely taken here by the Dire side. They're smoked in, and paiN, for now, have no idea. They're moving over to the jungle. Are they going to go up the ramp? They're going to head over to the Roche pit? Nope, they're going to go and farm. They want some gold.
Yeah, they're just trying to take control of the map right now. They're just trying to say, okay, well, we're worried that they're 5-man smoking us, where they might be killing us off, but we have to just get any item we can. Obviously, the Leshrac needs to move towards that BKB quickly, but in the meantime, even with the Bounty Hunter down and unable to scout things out, Void Boys just casually take the Roshan, and that's going to be something that paiN are very frustrated about, because the Aegis Immortal on the Wind Ranger is going to be very difficult to fight up against. I mean, when it comes to tier 3s, she's really good at sieging with Focus Fire and Aegis, and when it comes to outside of base, it just means that she can be the one to jump in the fight early with that Blink Dagger.
Now, this Armlet and Spirit Breaker, Armlet I feel is a really strong item that, you know, you can build up incrementally. It's great when you're behind as a hero in general, when you just want to try and buy up a couple of small items bit by bit. But a lot of the time, it's not so great against certain lineups. You know, it's great against single burst target lineups that throw their spells out and you're like, right, I'm going to Armlet toggle, you're not going to hit me with any more of your spells, or I'm going to be able to dodge through them or around them. Here, there's Static Storm, there's Static Field, there's Rocket Flares, there's, you know, all sorts of just stuff being thrown out in fights. There are so many AoE splash abilities, and not necessarily on, you know, long cooldowns. The Static Field from Zeus I feel is the bigger one here. If he gets caught by that while he's Armlet toggling, how worthwhile is this item pickup actually going to be over something, let's say, like, you know, getting halfway towards your BKB?
Yeah, that's the real comparison is towards the BKB because right now in Tavo's mind he feels like he needs damage. He wants to go and combo one person on the back line to say, okay, you're dead because I used my 2 spells and hit you twice. So Armlet's gonna get him closer to that threshold than obviously the BKB because it's a more offensive item. But the main comparison I would actually make the item to is the more traditional first item for a Spear Breaker, which is a Shadow Blade. Shadow Blade is actually a really bad pickup in this game. Up against the Zeus, up against the Bounty Hunter, up against all these Sentry Wards that are coming out, it's really difficult for the Shadow Blade to actually allow the Spear Breaker to charge in and engage. So he just says, okay, I'll go for the higher HP pool to soak up damage, I'll go for the greater damage output, the greater attack speed, and I'll just use that fully offensively. There are a lot of things that can lock him down, and without the BKB, he's still going to feel like he's missing something.
Gyro has his BKB, Leshrac is getting closer and closer. They're foregoing buybacks for now. 30 minutes in, it's not that big of a deal if you drop and can't buy back, unless you're the ones defending your towers. And we haven't seen Void Boys actually push up to these tier 2s in quite some time. Been slowly but surely trying to actually get these creep waves forward towards the tier 2s. Maybe when Wind Ranger. Now she's got her Crystallis as well as that Aghanim, some Blink Dagger, some great offensive Blink Shackle, and just kill off a hero instantly. That combo.
So we're about to hit a turning point in the game as far as initiation mentality, and it's actually pretty interesting to me. Before it was mostly about counter-ganking. I would say whoever gets the jump doesn't necessarily take the fight, it's how you respond to that. It's if you could get a good position with shackle shots and hook shots and cogs, it's if you can get a good Song of the Siren reset and turn that back around. And now I feel like that's changed. I feel that initiation is all the more important because of the Static Storm Aghanim Scepter. Now, whenever we see I'm2B drop down that Static Storm on a hero that would love to BKB out of it, they won't have that option, and that could be crushing for either the Gyrocopter or the Leshrac. So they've got to be the one to move in early, maybe with the Glimmer Cape, and pop that BKB at the start of the fight. That's the only way that they can make this work for them, unless the Naga Siren is always in the perfect position or gets a Blink Dagger.
That's what they're looking for right now. The charge forward from the Spear Breaker. He's got 4 people behind him smoked. He's going to hit a good 3 or 4 seconds before they arrive, though. Onto that Wind Ranger now with the armlet. First hit back afterwards. Static Storm is dropped, though. As Wind Ranger turns to fight this, the song slows things down so the cooldown can land. The blink out from Wind Ranger is going to allow her safety for now, trying to turn back on the Carver who's graved up, but in comes 40R. Rips him a new one. Void Boys, he won't try and turn this. Dagon, Blade Mail, TB on, in comes the Wind Ranger again, her secondary life. 40R, Glimmer caped up, and there's the ensnare. Damage output from the Leshrac takes them all out. 3 down, and Spear Break is the only one. They get taken out in exchange.
Yeah, another perhaps unnecessary Static Storm, allowing paiN to initiate it immediately thereafter. And the Song of the Siren combo wasn't perfect, but in the end the damage is still there. The Leshrac with his BKB and massive magical damage is plenty to deal with the Wind Ranger, who mostly brings survivability from Wind Run. So they're going to take that down easily. They're actually going to look for the tier 2 as well. The tracks will start flying, but Void Boys really won't draw the line until the high ground, because they don't want to buy back on the Wind Ranger now.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Firstly, with 25 seconds until she comes back up. This does allow paiN Gaming, though, to take full control of the Dire jungle. Roshan, find out when he respawns in about 3 minutes or so. Could be what paiN are going to be looking for next. Disruptor buys up a smoke. Aggressive play from Void Boys on the cards here, possibly. Get themselves out of their base and try and find that elusive jump that you were mentioning. Get the Clockwork hook shot, the glimpse, the Bounty Hunter track. Their Observer Wards, they're decently placed to actually catch people when they're in the river. But you've got to be looking towards where paiN are farming. If you've got Observer Wards in their jungle, maybe one pretty deep down here, or one... Yeah, there we go. Bounty Hunter gets one in a really nice spot there.
So this could create some nice opportunities here. They're definitely going to know that the Gyrocopter is real, and they'll see the Naga Siren split things off, so they'll know that those are fakes. But really it comes down to engaging in this territory. How they can close the distance here is going to most likely be the Clockwork and the Shackle Shot as well. They've got the Blink Dagger, they've got the play, and now they have the vision.
And 40R is running around. The Naga's going to drop here. Cooldown is thrown out, but Naga Song, the Thunderstrike going to finish her off. She's slowly but surely slithering away, glimpsed back into death. And destroyed by the Zeus. They don't find the Gyrocopter though, which would have been an amazing kill.
Yeah, exactly. If the Solid Siren hadn't come out, then it would have just been the Gyrocopter and the Naga guaranteed going down, but they popped the BKB and the Gyro, so it only really takes Dagon and Shuriken damage from the Bounty Hunter. And yeah, it comes down to the Battery Assault not sticking to the Naga there, and I believe she tried to Glimmer Cape out and they didn't have detection. So all works out pretty well, and they're going to be able to re-engage on this, I guess the tier 2 tower position. It drops down very, very quickly to the Wind Ranger, but at least for the moment, it seems like they've held their ground, and we're going to see instead just some farming action bottom and top.
They did have to send the bounty back to deal with the last track who was split pushing up atop, but Fly on this Zeus, blink dagger off cooldown. There we go, jump over the hills and far away from the aggressive hordes of paiN chasing him down. Now, we've looked at the Dire's Observer Wards, and, you know, they've got a nice spread, like the freaking Bermuda Triangle here, watching for river movements, a little bit of farming here from the Radiant. Radiant Observer Wards, they've got one which does a similar job up at top, watching for possibly, you know, smokes in that area, but also when people are farming. The rest of their vision, though, there is it. There's a lane ward over to the east on the bottom lane. Outside of that, they've got nothing towards mid, no big spire wards, nothing giving a great amount of vision here for the Radiant side. So charging with the Spirit Breaker to actually get that opening like they did up at top lane, going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. Now, well, up to this point, 34 minutes in, I really feel like Void Boys still had the better team lineup strategically. They could take fights really well. They had really good tools of engagement. Now I actually think that paiN have a better control over the map, and they have a better shot at this just from a strategic point of view, because they have the Geometry Sight on the Naga Siren. They have the last track pretty much fully ready to fight. And Wind Ranger, she's looking out now, she'll be okay, but...
Sentry?
Oh, this could be bad. They don't get the shot
Static
across the lash, but they do not get the kinetic field. They have to glimpse so many BKBs. Oh no, with the hook shot on cooldown, they completely missed that opportunity. Very impatient with the shackle shot and not quick enough with the kinetic field. Oh my.
My jaw is like on the table. That could have been massive. Void Boys really missing out on a big opportunity there. Well, Schwan is being charged. The paiN Gaming, they're coming in. Blink back from Bounty, charge through onto the Clockwork, who tried to put the Cog Staff to save his teammate. 4 staff back in the kinetic field. Holds them out, but not the Spirit Breakers. Freaking jump forward. Song of the Siren. Do we have a cooldown? Do they want to go in? They want to find the Zeus, and that's going to be an easy pick off. Rocket Barrage and Snare and Denial from the Bloodstone. That's just
Didn't even
opening
get a chance to use
approach.
the ulti. It was just coming off cooldown. They have a couple of tools to send them packing, but they're not going to be able to route them completely. The only good thing about that is that the Bloodstone does reduce the Zeus death timer, and they might still be able to hold the tier 2. In fact, it looks like paiN are happy to spread the map and ignore it for now. There is going to be a glimpse into the open arms since he's tracked up, and the Glimmer Cape will not do enough to keep him alive.
Hookshot misses, but man oh man, that Daedalus Wind Ranger, holy crap. Damage output is insane.
Dire's middle tower.
40R.
It's a trade-off, of course. Right now, not having a BKB makes her kind of a glass cannon in my mind, but the Daedalus, very consistent damage output with no mitigation factor thanks to the Acronyms. Lashrak,
got a decent respawn timer of his own. Roshan has respawned. It looks like paiN Gaming pinging that out saying, hey guys, it's possible he's back up, and take a look at that. The Dire, rocket flare across, so they know for sure. One, is that Dagon level 2? Yeah, he's got up. Now this is always sort of a point of contention between a lot of players. Dagon and leveling it up. If you have the gold, I've heard, you know, like 80-90% of professional players say if you've got the gold to level it up to 5, you go for it. Once you're in, you're in. You get up to 5 and it's well worth the cooldown reduction and the extra damage you get. But the blink dagger mobility on the Bounty Hunter, I freaking love mobility on this hero. Being able to literally dance around in team fights, blinking back and forth, escaping inescapable situations. Getting extra tracks off here and there. Their chasing power is insane.
Definitely. And yeah, I can understand the mentality on both sides, especially when you're up against a core Naga. Dagon 5's cooldown reduction allows you to actually deal with those Radiance Eminence a lot more efficiently. But one thing that I would talk about is not even just a Blink Dagger or the higher ranks of Dagon, but where's the mechanism on Void Boys? They don't have a mech, they don't have Guardian Greaves, and they're getting trounced when it comes to physical damage output from the Gyro. We're going to see actually the Wind Rangers snatch the Aegis and get away, but look at that song.
Yeah, Static Storm has missed completely here. Glimpse back, trying to set up something, but the Fly is still caught in snare and cooldown. No suicide this time. But how's the chase? How's the chase? Actually, Wind Ranger goes down to Turbo, and the damage output from the armlet, allowing him to get that. Drum's movement speed gets him a little bit further away. But the Zeus for the Spirit Breaker, a decent trade-off there. The big thing is, Wind Ranger lost Edith Immortal, so any notions of aggression Void Boys possibly had, saying, hey look, we've got this, we've got Wind Ranger with 2 lives, maybe we go back in Glimpse. The rest of paiN's already here though. C40 shackled up to his teammate behind him, it's there now, holds in the Wind Ranger. Tiburon's Clockwork on the retreat out as 4DR. Spams out the flat cannon shots. I'm not sure if this continues because Siobhan throwing out tracks left and right. CYS. He's going to go in 1 versus 3 here. Split Earth not going to land. And the rest of his team has already bailed on.
He almost can't 1v4 this. With the fact that he has a Yule Scepter, he can pop that Pulse of an Edict and just go in. He might have to now. He doesn't get the choice. He's tracked up. He uses Yules earlier to dispel the track, and now he can't use it to keep himself invulnerable. Everybody here will survive. The last track going down, and paiN losing out an engagement that at first looked rather favorable for them.
Oh, they did excellently well there, but Flashrack dying 2 or 3 times in quick succession. Void Boys, the track gold just keeps on flowing. Zeus now up to 2,000 gold after the blink, and BOTs he's got. Okay, Bloodstone down to 4 charges. It's not that big a deal. He would like to have more, but a lot of Bloodstones about, the respawn timer being reduced and just being generally tanky. Having your mana pool and HP pool increase that a little bit. The great facet to have on this little old Zeus. What do you expect from him next, though? We've seen Aghanims, we've seen Refreshers. Do we want more mobility, like a Force Staff or a Yules, or do you want to go for the big fighting items? The game-changing item right now, which would look towards a Hex.
That's a tough call. I mean, the Hex definitely has a lot of merits, but I would actually say something maybe like an Octarine Core, if he can actually scrap that together. It's a really good item, very short cooldowns on the Zeus. Just spam that out and keep on triggering the static field, because when you're up against items like Armlet and the Gyrocopter's current stat build that features 2,500 HP, you really want to be afflicting that health pool directly with the static field. And I think that Octarine Core's cooldown reduction, as well as its extra tankiness, will allow him to withstand that initial focus that he's been receiving a lot of these fights, and allow him to turn it back around with some really good spell set.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Dropped it though. He's going to start looking at these static storms and wondering where he's gone wrong. The last 3 or maybe even 4 have really been on the mark. Even though they've been fighting in relatively good choke points, they've missed out on Leshrac having that great movement speed, but he doesn't get away from that. The shackle shot holds him in place, and I just about catch the end of his life.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that we've really been feeling the full effect of these stand-ins. The ultimates in particular for both I'm2B and Jay, just not the most impressive this game. Maybe it's the heroes, maybe it's a ping. I think we're in USCs right now, but even still, there can be random jitters here and there. And yeah, hook shots and static storms haven't really been on the mark the way you'd expect them to be, but they're still definitely in a position to win this game if they can just find that engagement. Either play a very pick-off-oriented style with a Clockwork and the Bounty Hunter, or make that like 5-man static storm happen. I mean, the dream is real, and I think M2B is very close to a Blink Dagger here.
It has been a very long time since I've seen such rich heroes across the board. Like, if you kind of disregard Dazzle, he's an outlier, right? You just to say, he doesn't exist for now. In this scenario, the fact that everyone has, 8,000 or more net worth, 42 minutes in, the Disruptor with an Aghanim Scepter, it's amazing. Like, track kills, obviously, for Void Boys have played a large factor in that, but how has paiN been keeping up this level of farm? What's their secret?
Comeback gold, really. It just comes down to letting one guy get fat and then beating the crap out of him, just smacking him like a piñata and the candy falls out. It really is this rebound gold that they're getting every single time you see track momentum and Midas momentum generated for Void Boys. That's when paiN take a major engagement and suddenly the kill gold just racks up. I would actually say that almost half their income is from kills and not from farm, but still, obviously 40R with 368 CS would try to skew those numbers a little bit.
Both teams have been very good at utilizing smokes here. I don't think one smoke gank has, completely failed. Who wouldn't try for another up at top, baiting out the Naga maybe a little bit here. They're wrapping around through the dire jungle. They're going to see this large camp actually returning to its little home. Fly, Zeus, your blink's off cooldown now, but can you escape? You'll scepter up into the air, and that's going to be his death. Going to have to try and deny himself, because there really isn't any escape from that.
Unfortunately not. Just not having the best game here. Fly is really finding trouble when it comes to positioning. He gets picked up by the song, by some Yules, and yeah, the second he's vulnerable, they strike. So really good execution for paiN, and yeah, they really need to make up for it across with the other heroes, because like I honestly don't even feel like it's Fly's problem. It's kind of just the circumstances. Like he is put in a bad position in the fights. They focus him down, and they essentially make him a non-factor no matter how skilled a player he is. So it's really the 4 other members of Void Boys that have to shoulder that weight, and I think WindRanger's actually in a really good position to do that now. The BKB win run combo is absolutely insane when it comes down to just doing non-stop damage, and it's going to be obviously hindered a little bit by Shallow Grave, keeping the focus fire target alive for 5 more seconds, but I still think it's a really damn good combo, and it's going to enable him to maybe get some major kills.
Oh yeah, she's going to be pumping out the damage, but then it's still... Every time I think about a team fight and try and, you know, envision what Void Boys are going to be looking to do, it all comes down to Disruptor. I feel that he is really the linchpin here for Void Boys team fight. Whether he can get a good glimpse, a static storm, something along those lines. Leshrac tracked up and zapped by Schwan. The bounty hunter hookshot now across as well. Leshrac's found him. There we go. BKB up and TP away. There's nothing to stop him now.
Yeah, unfortunately that will not be the kill they're looking for. Still, a BKB put on cooldown is something to keep him out of their jungle as far as farm goes as well. But yeah, I think the Blink Dagger on Disruptor makes this hero pretty much of critical importance. Like before, you have limited options of where the Static Storm can go because of your mobility problems, but with Tranquil Boots Blink Dagger, you can get anywhere you need to for these fights, and you should be able to shut down some of these spellcasters. But for now, we're going to be looking at the Roche respawn in 1 to 4 minutes, and I think that's going to be where we can determine a lot of how this game is going to go. But I have a question for you. Looking over at paiN's item progression here, I now see 40R with the Hiscati, Sanjayasha, BKB. Instead of going for the Monkey King bar to deal with this Wind Ranger, he actually upgrades his Dominator into the Satanic. Do you think survivability is paiN's issue, or is it going to be the ability to kill off certain heroes?
I don't know. That's an interesting one. It depends on like how the fight breaks out, and I think again it comes back to what you were saying a good 15 minutes ago, who gets the initial jump in. But with the BKB, I think Gyrocopter, as long as he gets his items, you know, used before he gets hit by a Static Storm, then sure. Satanic, BKB, they're great items to get out in a team fight, but are they going to jump in here? Do they have anything? Shackle Shot's going to latch, but he's flipped on the low ground. Glimpse back, and now the Wind Ranger actually does get a chance to fire out these arrows. 4DR, saved by the song for now. The Static Storm's still ticking him over, and now the 4-staff Graven heal. Great combo out from the Dazzle as the fight's reset, and Void Boys don't find the pick they were looking for. Leshrac still up a top lane, pushing away. And are there TPs back here? The glimpse onto the Spirit Breaker will send him back, but no one's stopping the Leshrac. He's up on this top lane taking tier 3.
Oh my. Just doing some good damage now. He's going to get caught out by the Yules of the Zeus, but he pops the BKB and he is home free. The
hookshot?
No! Not going to be on the mark there, either timing or creep block.
No!
And yeah, they're frustrated, obviously very clearly frustrated by how much damage Leshrac was able to do, but really it's just Spirit Breaker just leading on a wild goose chase, and Gyrocopter taking an immense leap of faith there from his teammates. I am absolutely astounded that 40R didn't pop his BKB when he saw that he was getting glimpsed back. I mean, there was the hookshot coming in about to stun him, but there was still a full second timing window where it's like, okay, there's a lot of shit happening, I should probably pop this immunity, but he was relying on the Naga, the Song of the Siren, and later the Shallow Grave, 4 staves from his supports, and that leap of faith actually pays off, keeping his BKB intact.
I'm gonna freaking die.
To create a ton of space for top lane.
Basically, I'm freaking dead, team. I'm dead. I'm gonna die. His teammates just like running to his safety. Bodyguards there themselves in front of him. That was a great play by paiN. And now 4DR. 2,500 gold up. Schwan track out. And he's up to level 5 Dagon. He's got the Zip Zap. Wind Ranger. What's her next item going to be? You can see her maybe going into a Hex of her own. I really think that the one big thing Void Boys are missing, and it was why I said Hex maybe for the Zeus, is that kind of secondary form of Disable. They've got the good hookshot, they've got Glimpse, they've got great chasing and long range, you know, sort of follow-through abilities, but what they don't have is something that can find the Gyro or the Electrac before they pop their BKBs and say, right, you're out of the fight, we're going to maybe focus you down or ignore you while you're hexed and go for your teammates.
I mean, theoretically, you might be able to get that out of the Wind Ranger Shackle Shot, but honestly, just what we've seen from Beyond the most recent, like, I would say the last 4 or 5 shackles could have been critical, and in the end actually didn't connect with much. Now we're going to see Bounty Hunter baiting a little bit. There's going to be a glimpse. There's going to be actually a shackle almost connecting at very long range, but really comes down to what you talked about before, the blink static storm coming in from Disruptor. This could determine the game itself, but that's not the Siren. As long as she stays out, she's okay.
They've got the hook shot, static storm onto the Naga. They've got her. They've got her. No more song. They've got buyback on the Naga, but the Gyrocopter is still going in onto the Wind Ranger. Call down onto the choke point as well as this Spirit Breaker is bashing the Wind Ranger around.
Wow.
No mobility for her as she just held in place, basically floating on mid-air. Arms and legs flailing, allowing paiN to head back into the rush pit and say, well, you tried. You're going to have to buy back to try again. Wind Ranger and Clockwork both back. The land of the living. With Naga, who has returned, bought back herself, I guess. Yeah.
And that will scare them out of the rush, but despite there being no static storm here, they're actually going to go right in on it. If they get the Aegis and the Wind Ranger, that's huge. They can get the cheese on the Zeus as well, and that would be absolutely splendid.
They saw this, surely. They've got a high ground ward. The Observer ward surely saw them blink in, but they give it up anyway. You'll have to now Song. Gonna hold them out. But what's the plan, Splitter? Not gonna land. Call down Will, though, onto 3 Disruptor. As well as the Zeus and Wind Ranger taking a ton of damage. The Grave now onto himself. Dazzle keeping himself alive, but Wind Ranger's died. The first life gone. Dazzle basically on 1 HP, trying to run away. But this is looking pretty good for Void Boys. They've stolen Roshan. They're now on the retreat, and they're really... paiN are running back and forth from target to target, just getting juked and jived around. Bounty blinking back and forth. Zeus making his way back up onto the high ground. Bounty says, well, you can take a consolation prize. Oh no! The 2-man hook shot in! The shackle shot as well. Tarbo hit down by the focus fire. 40R BKB pop. What can they do to stop him? He's going to Satanic up the BKB from Wind Ranger, not doing a damn thing. The Wind Run will, though. CYS, Leshrac, no mana remaining. Fly. Ease. Back to full HP. Maybe he can turn and fight this. Maybe. Not looking likely, though, as he yields up the Gyro. Tries to hold his own, but denies in the end. Wind Ranger does come back in, though, and finishes off the Gyrocopter. Not looking for more. The Leshrac, not the best target for that for the Wind Ranger to actually go for.
Yeah, and Clockwork, though, in range, probably won't be going for any more hook plays. Maybe if the Zeus at the tail end of that tried to Yules up the Leshrac and just get the Gyrocopter down to real low HP, at least they could clean up a little bit smoother on that, but it just it comes down to Beyond just being picked up so early in the pre-fight, and then obviously in that engagement itself. They have forced the buyback on her. She goes ahead, takes care of Roshan, and then she loses the Aegis nearly immediately. The Wind Run timing, as well as just her positioning in those last couple engagements were critical, and the Naga Siren with that song really took it to Void Boys. They are now, I would say, at a significant disadvantage without the option of Aegis or Cheese anytime soon, and once again it's all on the Disruptor. While paiN, they just get stronger and stronger, and we see they've got the Shiva's Guard on the Leshrac. You know the Gyrocopter is going to be going for Monkey King Bar next, and at that point I don't know if there's any way they can take a fight.
Ultimate ult for the Wind Ranger, and I'd be inclined to agree with you. The fact that that fight in particular, we saw the 2 buybacks from the Radiant, so they don't have buyback on the Spirit Breaker or Naga, but that's your off lane. And one of your support, like, Naga was a support hero. She's got a ton of items, her net worth is pretty great. But the fact that your Wind Ranger has no buyback for 4 minutes now, paiN can go on the aggressive and say, you know, we can push up to high ground. You've got no tier 2s remaining. If we can get these lanes back across the river and try and really stick it to you, force you to defend your high ground, what big abilities do you have to actually hold that choke point? Static Storm, again, it just keeps coming back to the Disruptor. Can he get a big blink Static Storm? Can he land it onto, at the very least, you know, the Gyrocopter? The Naga Siren we saw there, the Great Initiation opening with the the hookshot and Static Storm onto her, just to stop that song from resetting or starting off the fight from paiN. paiN Gaming, now they've got BKB on the Spirit Breaker. His next item is a fair distance away. Fairly fresh BKB. Oh, it's not MKB on the Gyrocopter. He's going for Butterfly.
Can you walk me through this a little bit? I mean, I understand how great survivability is when the team has a finite amount of damage to output. I mean, they only have so many big spells they can throw at them to take his HP pool down, and of course with the Dazzle behind you, you're happy with Shallow Grave. You have a lot of ways to get right back up. But I just don't understand why you wouldn't at least deviate for the Monkey King bar before continuing on this full survivability route.
And especially when Void Boys, who from Void Boys is right-clicking you? It's just the Wind Ranger, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too sure. He's still got one item slot, you can sell the Sage and Yasha for an MKB a little bit later on. But maybe, like, a lot of the time when you look at builds and you're wondering, why not go for something that fits or is, more optimal in this certain situation? And, a fair amount of people get sort of stuck in their way and they've got builds that they're very familiar with. Like, okay, well, I go for this, I go into this, I'm tanky, I'm unkillable, Gyrocopter with the left track at this point. Oh. Hello, Bounty Hunter, hello. But I guess Leshrac and Gyro are almost unkillable at this point. Shiva's Guard giving a great amount of armor. The Butterfly going to make him very resilient against the Wind Ranger. Well, I don't see how they're going to die, but sure, you're losing out on a hell of a lot of actual damage output and killing potential onto this.
I actually love how much burst damage Bounty Hunter can do once he has the level 5 Dagon. It's actually a combo of 880 damage, and yeah, Spirit Breaker just running around with 840. Not so lucky there, running into some trouble, but yeah, it just really comes down to pickoffs right now for Void Blaze until they can really rely on that Disruptor fully. Another Geometry Sight will be picked up for the Radiant side. The last one was dropped by the Spirit Breaker, picked up by the Bounty Hunter. Now Naga has a second one to play around with, and it looks like she'll hold on to that.
Fly, going for that Octarine Core, he's got his Soul Booster up. Very, very forward on this bottom lane. Kind of surprising that there's no movement forward, but I guess without the Spirit Breaker they don't have that gap closer to actually jump forward onto that Zeus when he's got his Blink Dagger up. He's still farming away though. They've got vision on him with this very defensive jungle ward from the Radiant, just watching for when someone does this exact thing. Push down. I guess they probably already had a sentry there as well to scout for Bounty Hunter, because that's a very normal path for Bounty to take, basically in this area here, to move around watching for camps and try and snipe someone off. But
they're just petrified that they might make a move that will be punished. They're worried that some way, somehow, that Void Boys are actually baiting that Zeus in that vulnerable position. They're like, okay, well, it's just too good to be true. So they go ahead, they back it up, and as a result, they are going to just miss an opportunity. They go for the smoke, but look at that. Thunder God's Wrath scouting it out here, and that is going to just pretty much nullify any possible positive boon from the smoke. I think that's actually the first smoke of the game that's been scouted out by Thunder Gods.
Yeah, the first smoke that's not actually going to result in any kills or any big team fight. I'm pretty sure every smoke has ended up in like a 5v5 and people TPing to towers to respond and people sprinting across the map to try and battle it out. But this does allow Wind Ranger to continue farming Ancients and Zeus to keep his push on the spot lane going. Is this going to be paiN actually committing to tier 3 here? They've got an incredibly strong lineup to actually breach high ground. Yeah, Void Boy says, we're not having any of this. We see you up there. We know you're going to be pushing up onto the tier 3, or at least proxy pushing, sending the Gyrocopter up with the full weave up on him. While the rest of them sit behind and wait for that initiation. So they've actually prepped themselves for good counter initiation here. Naga very far back, so he can't get static stormed or jumped on hookshot though across them all. Catches Gyrocopter on the way through. He's got his Aghanim Scepter as well, so he doesn't care too much about spending that early. He's got another one in 4-3. Shackle shot not latching to the dazzle behind. Close, but not quite.
You were robbed, Dan. That was like such a legit shackle shot, and it could have been so huge to initiate in that fashion. Would have immediately forced out the Song of Siren and forced paiN to pretty much go just head for the hills. They couldn't fight once the Song Reset was gone, but here stand their ground, look for the next fight. They have the Satanic, so they're going to be able to keep 40 on the front line, and he didn't take much damage from the Tout, not taking much damage from the creeps. He's going to be able to go in for another volley onto these racks, and the Zeus is actually holding onto his buyback, and as a result doesn't have the Octarine Core finished.
I was just looking at buybacks as well. Wind Ranger, 530 gold away. It came off cooldown about 5 seconds ago, but she just doesn't have the gold to sustain it. She needs a little bit more. Yule Scepter now onto the Bounty Hunter. Split Earth. No! The Song of the Siren's actually going to settle a bigger fight here. Cooldown is going to land on the two big heroes. Fly Yules himself up into the air and the blink out for the Wind Ranger. Hook shot in to save the Zeus as well. So that's all pretty much gone to waste as the Shackle shot slows the retreat. The left back glips back. He's got no BKB now. Glitter Cape though allows him to meander his way out of the high ground.
Yeah, they're still looking for their big kinetic static storm, though. I believe that M2B has a potential jump here with the Blink Dagger, getting blocked a little bit by creeps, and it looks like paiN, just without the song, are going to back off. It's actually going to be a glimpse back, however, onto the Naga Siren, and she is going to be burst down very quickly. Charging back in, I'm not sure about this. They still have to worry about the static storm, and I believe that's just going to be it. paiN lose one, and with all these tracks, they might lose another to the glimpse.
Rocket Flare? No, not going to give that track, but maybe blink forward and glimpse. Whatever's Disruptor, you're going to blink forward a little bit further. Yule's up. Yeah, Fly sets it up. Disruptor going to get brought back here into the midst of thing grave, and he's got no TP. He's holding on to the gem, actually, so they're going to be giving away another gem.
Brutal. Alright, so Void Boys, yeah, holding it pretty well here. I mean, don't lose either Rex on the top lane. They are able to get a couple of kills there and buy time for the next Roshan, which I think is very important for Void Boys' progression. We're also going to see the Monkey King bar picked up on Wind Ranger. The first one to pick it up is just to actually counter out this Talisman of Evasion. I'm curious if the Gyrocopter even bothers finishing Butterfly. If he sees the MKB, maybe just says, aha, fooled you, drops the Talisman, and goes for something else.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Because that way... Oh, wait, what did Wind Ranger do with that ultimate orb? She sold it, didn't she? So she saw
like it.
So she saw the Talisman of Evasion and thought, okay, I need an MKB now. Sold the ultimate orb so there's no Hex. Oh man, Leshrac? Okay, there's no gap. No, the Shackle Shot was coming, but it's not there. Not there in time.
And she bought out for it too, so she's actually not going to have enough gold for buyback for a long, long time.
But yeah, if that's the play from Gyrocopter, good on him. Sometimes you see it, you know, it's an 1800 gold to bait out. What is a Monkey King bar? 5800 or something?
53?
54. You were closer.
Okay.
You win. Hookshot mid though. Gyrocopter forced to use his BKB, and that's down to 5 seconds. Oh, they got the glimpse. Disruptor. He's got the field. Song, no, actually stop there. The cooldown does land onto a couple of heroes, but they've zapped down Nagasar and Schwan in the midst of things, with Leshrac going forth with his BKB pulse, whatever. You've got to do something, but not die. Like that. As the Leshrac finds a free kill. Fly on the back end, another strike up onto him. Bash back as well. Tarbo finds the opening, and Tiburon. I'm not sure what your plan is here, but it's probably to retreat, because the Black Cannon hits down from the Gyrocopter, splashing onto the entirety of Void Boys. Finally, a Dagon Zap out from the bounty, finishes off the Leshrac, but the chase continues. Did Zeus buy... Oh, Zeus buys back again.
Yeah. They have to make something happen here. Fly will put up the Yule Scepter. There's Juan with the flank, and they will get a nice little hook here, but it's just onto the Spirit Breaker. At the very least, they can turn this around on the Bounty Hunter. He's going to be forced away, and Spirit Breaker charges again in anyways, and will not actually bash with the charge thanks to the Battery Assault. He actually just dies at the steps, but we will see here the Spirit Breaker, or the Disruptor finished off by the other two remaining members of paiN. So they'll be backing off, but there's no glimpse to follow them. It's got to be the good old-fashioned way, or an Aghanim's hook shot, if he can get the angle for it.
Leshrac's alive though. Leshrac is back, and that means Zeus is going to try and run away from this one. Home missile will fly its way across calmly towards the Zeus. It's not going to do too much. Again, these fights are incredibly messy. Void Boys, they seem to come out ahead on gold just because of track, but in actuality, paiN are the ones gaining ground here. They're the ones killing off Void Boys, forcing buybacks from key heroes, and making sure that they're getting traction on this map. They're the ones pushing these lanes towards tier 3s. They're gaining objectives. Is Zeus thinking about this? Oh. Up on the high ground, he's going to try and de-ward. He'll succeed.
Hook shot could be huge here. The Gyrocopter just doesn't have enough damage to take Roshan quickly, and the Clockwork...
Are they going to go in? Schwan comes in and kills the Dazzle! Okay, that's cheeky. And now paiN, they're in this really awkward position where there are 3 heroes all around them. They've been sandwiched in. Leshrac using Splitter to try and take Roshan faster, but in comes that Bounty Hunter, the bouncing Shuriken. Now that's another Schwan just going ham, hookshot in. Tiburon has found the opening. CYS's BKB and 4DRs, they're both very low on their duration. CYS is up on the high ground, he's getting zapped down by the Zeus. There's another Dagon available from the Bounty Hunter in a second or so, but they're not going to get the kill as 40. Oh yes, they will! No freaking way! The Midas from the Zeus is on the ground for some reason.
I loved it, you. Zeus, he just wanted to grab an Aegis or a Cheese. He tried to jump in the pit and pick something up, and in the end, he just loses out on 1900 gold. It served him well throughout this hour-long game, but it is dust now. And we're just going to see, yeah, the Cheese looks to be That's the one thing I was trying to keep track of, and it seemed like the gyrocopter just grabbed it and used it, or maybe just destroyed it. The Clockwork was very close to grabbing it himself, but ended up force-staffing himself to the high ground when he realized he was just going to die, and the Observer Ward actually punished his position there. So, yeah, crazy fights back and forth. In the end, the Aegis in the hands of the gyrocopter, and that's where it's most impactful. That's going to be a really big deal coming into the final siege. But I love this Bounty Hunter's playstyle. Juan just going for the picks, just going for, okay, the easy grab on the Dazzle to prevent the shallow graze, and now the Naga Siren, when she was probably just about the song to cover the Roshan, or I'm actually not sure why she didn't even do it sooner, but the Bounty Hunter picks her up, and that is just immense. And now, like I was talking about, that Talisman of Evasion, nowhere to be found. 40R has himself a Monkey King bar.
I'm not sure if I'm dumb. Top racks, when did that fall?
I'm assuming that's a creep factor. They definitely didn't force it, but it was half down already. Obviously, it doesn't regenerate. So I believe it was just while they were all skirmishing in the pit, the creep wave just pushed its way in brute force. Don't think anybody BOT'd or anything to it,
No.
so it seems to have just fallen of its own volition.
Okay. Just making sure. I knew they'd been chipped away at when they did try and force high ground, but I thought maybe the Naga or someone like that, Sense Illusion. Maybe it was Naga Illusion.
The very least, he probably was pushing with Riptide
Yeah.
with the illusions. I don't think he actually brought it all the way to the base, though.
Well, they've lost the ranged racks up at top. It's pretty big, actually, because this is fully open now. 2/3 HP on the melee racks as paiN are grouping up at top once again. The DD Dazzle, let's see how much damage he can do as Schwan throwing out tracks. There's no opener there onto the Bounty Hunter though, and the TP's back. Here we go. Void Boy's buyback status, limited. Bounty Hunter is the only one with buyback over on the dark side actually. And that could be a defining factor in this upcoming fight. If they lose a couple of heroes here, it could be devastating. 40R losing a ton of HP though, it's whatever. He blinks himself back, so no aggressive blink for 10 seconds for that Static Storm to come through. 40R is hookshotted upon, Tiburon, 4 staffs back. But, okay, 40R is out of range of the racks. Now Shackle Shot, that's good, onto Tarbo. They're going to take him out instant. Oh, the Yule Scepter! Yule Scepter up onto the Wind Ranger. Tarbo stuck in the Static Storm connect field, but will get himself away just in time as the armour's up, glimpsed back, but it doesn't do a damn thing. Oh, okay, the crit does. The crit from Wind Ranger, that'll do it. That'll finish him off. Does that give the Wind Ranger buyback? Yes, it does. She's got buyback now. 40R down. First life gone. Aegis Immortal, the bouncing Shuriken onto that Leshrac, but this Song of the Siren, it's not in range. It's not long enough, and the TP out from the Naga. They got the racks, and they'll bail out.
Tiburon is just a little bit too close to the song radius. He doesn't get to hookshot to cancel the Naga's TP, and it is going to be her successfully getting out. It looks like the gyrocopter will be fine as well, so yeah, they end up losing something to the Wind Ranger, and like you said, she now has buyback, but just being routed once will not cost them too much. And I think this is a really strong aspect of paiN's draft now, is they almost always have a guaranteed retreat. They have an extraction to even the worst possible fight because of this Naga Siren, because of that ultimate. And it's so difficult for Void Boys to find that opening to either kill the Naga Siren before she gets that off, or get the silence in the position they need it.
The Radiant's Courier has 4 selves on it. 40R says, right, I've got my items, I've got 5,200 gold. I'm gonna buy myself some salves.
Where's your Moonshard, bro? Come on.
I mean, if they can have these salves, you know, on the Courier, near where they're actually pushing into, it kind of makes me think of that time when IG were running the Kunkka strat, and they would actually get him, you know, to X-Mark, TP someone back, buy salves and clarities in the fountain, bottle up, and get yourself regened. But actually pushing into high ground without a great amount of like, they've got Dazzle, Heal, and Mech, okay, but they don't have a massive amount of sustain and heal, especially onto very tanky heroes with these stats builds. Leshrac, you know, closing on 3k HP. Birdbreaker, 2,500, probably up to 3k with that armlet on as well. 3,500 for the gyrocopter. Even with all their heals, it's not going to be enough to actually keep them up and running, so...
I mean, then again, the gyrocopter does have Satanic, the Leshrac has Octopus Core, so they've got Lifesteal, Spell Lifesteal. Really, the Spearbreaker's the one that's hurting the most, but he's got a lot of natural HP regen from Pipe, Urn, and Armlet, so... I wouldn't count it out entirely, but obviously there are those death push situations where you just need HP and you need it fast.
Just buying HP for the lulz. Oh, here we go again. paiN Gaming, they've got all their ultimates available. They've got Song of the Siren and Cooldown, Lincoln Sphere being applied from the Bounty Hunter over to that Wind Ranger. As the Bounty picked up an E-Blade not too long ago, so he's got even more insta-kill potential. What HP is the Dazzle sitting on? Under 1100. How much damage does the Bounty
that should be
do?
kill then. Yeah, I absolutely think that we should just combo it up if he gets the E-Blade debuff and then the
Shackle!
gun.
They've got it over onto the creep from the gyrocopter, but a good Glimmer Cape keeps him that invisible guise.
Yeah, good play from the Zeus here, just pushing it out so that they don't have to worry about their top lane getting pressured while bottom lane is. But yeah, still gonna have to jump back and BOT away. Short cooldown on this TP. He actually has a 33.75 second cooldown on his Boots of Travel, so a lot of map movement from him. The Blink Dagger on 9-second cooldown, he can move around very quickly. And that's probably one of the strengths of the heroes in this kind of situation where the entire map is being pressured. So he's able to arc lightning all this with that. You were talking about it. 1.3125 second arc lightning.
It's my favorite. It really is my favorite.
And I'm also noticing now, every single time the arc lightning bounces, he gets a little particle effect for the spell lifesteal.
Yeah.
So he's hitting like a creep wave of like 20 different creeps. I guess it bounces 15 times. That's a lot of little. It just turns into like a mini rave party for himself.
The little rainbow flashing up on him. Now, the Nagasaran's item build is something that I want to bring up for a while now, but I keep forgetting. Radiance on late game support Naga has kind of been, it's been in vogue recently, especially since Aoi over on EG has been doing it. Do you think that he has kind of relegated himself to being this full utility Naga, and they felt they haven't needed the Nagasaran Radiant solutions? Like, is this a conscious choice, or is it just that he hasn't ever felt he has enough gold for it?
Well, I mean, it's always a conscious choice who gets the farm. At this point, he just doesn't want to dwarf anybody else's farm. If he happens to have 5,000 gold to spare, then sure, he'll drop himself a Radiance. But right now, I think he's probably prioritizing initiation and team fight presence. So he's more looking towards items like Blink Dagger, Guardian Greaves, Vladimir's Offering, Assault Cuirass, anything along those lines that can really enhance his team. That's what he's looking for, much more so than the Radiance.
Okay. I guess they've got decent creep clear abilities in their own. Gyrocopter as well as Leshrac. They don't necessarily need someone that can continually spam out these waves, and so far they've set themselves up pretty nicely. Both mid and top pushed across the river, getting towards, well, there's no tier 3 at top, but getting into the base, tier 3 at mid. Well, Roshan, a decently long respawn time, another 2.5 minutes or so. Well, 2 minutes and whatever seconds. Wait for that, but they do have the courier. With the 4 salves. Waiting on the Roche pit, while rocket flares were scattered out for the dire side as well, making sure they have every little bit of information they can. Dire Observer wards also in pretty ridiculous places, not regularly dewarded. Do we have a gem again over on the Radiant, by the way? They've given up a couple to the Dire, but Dazzle has one. Dazzle has a gem.
Yeah, I believe it is still the second one that they purchased, but no, actually I've seen one on the Courier as well as on the Bounty Hunter. I guess that might be their third. They really have been trying to get vision up, but it looks like these are all the Naga's gems, and a little bit frustrated at that note. The Dazzlebot one, the Nagabot two, but yeah, it's a lot of bling coming out from paiN Gaming, and they're not really hanging on to it. So
that's where the Radiance money went to. Went into gems.
Yeah, it's true.
Damn it.
It does tax you pretty heavily. And they're going for another Courier too, so this Dazzle's not going to be breaking 10k net worth anytime soon.
Another Courier?
Mm-hmm. Well, one to scout Roshan, one to actually do a Courier's normal duties.
Well, one to scout Roshan and hold 4 salves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's the combat medic. This is Dusky the War Courier, I don't know.
But you can't use salves from a courier onto someone. You have to take it on.
No, you have to give it to freaking. You have to empty a slot on the gyrocopter. I don't think you any amount of healing salves, even if it's like you put 50 stacked up. I don't think he's gonna want to drop a single one of his items. Maybe the treads. He'll swap it over. But.
The courier's dead actually.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
So I mean, again, that's just their scouting tool. They'll send in illusions into the pit now to keep an eye on it.
I mean, there was a bug about 1.5 years ago, something like that, that allowed you to globally use salves and clarities onto heroes from the courier in Fountain.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Oh, that was pretty crazy. Well, C4, oh man, Dazzle has to be careful here. He's gone for a ward there. It's actually scattered out, and the gem from Bounty Hunter will allow them to instantly deward that, while track onto the Dazzle, scouting out the entirety of the Radiant team. Done.
Nice movement there with the Blink Dagger, just always having the Shadow Walk, Blink Back available so he can go for a truck safely. And we're actually going to see the Weave come out, so this will be a very clear statement of intent coming in from paiN, but they literally, the Weave was for the ward. They say, okay, we've gotten our map control back. Roshan Pit is in the dark, and it looks like they're just going to hold position with this Naga Siren, but the Dagon could actually kill the Naga Siren illusion when they're being most frustrated by it.
Over in the pit, Zeus is up at top lane. 6,000 gold on this Zeus, and I've been keeping the buyback tab up for quite some time. That's the one I'm most interested in right now. Plenty of buybacks available actually right now, where the Disruptor is the furthest away. Bought himself a Force Staff after the Blink Dagger, so feeling he needs that little bit more mobility to get himself in and around these team fights. Bounty is pretty far away from his. Good 400 or so, but I guess he's level 23. At this point in the game, let's look at hero levels. There are 4 heroes on level 25. The rest of them, not looking too bad, but the Dazzle and the Naga have actually fallen behind a fair bit. I guess they've been focused down a lot in these team fights, you know. Bounty's been going after the Dazzle, Disruptor looking for the Naga Siren, while the Dire side have been buying back.
BKB coming up from the last track, still going to be the charge connecting onto the Wind Ranger here. They're going to look to nuke her down. She hasn't BKB'd yet. Another strike, bringing her down to under 1,000 HP before she pops the BKB and turns it on the last track, who in turn pops the Yule.
No! The Shackle misses! He still finished off the last track though, Spirit Breaker charging away.
Oh, and they're in the pit. They're going right into this one. Bounty Hunter's trying to hold the line. He'll keep some track up, actually track upon track, as it gives him vision to cast the subsequent tracks. But
Cumulative tracks.
It's still going to be 4 heroes around this Roshan Pit as the last track moves in with those BOTs onto the Disruptor, forces out the Static Storm early and cannot use any items here. So he's going to be taking a lot of damage, but the hookshot actually gets blocked out by Fly. The glimpse is what's going to bring this last track down, suiciding without buyback.
He buys back, gets back in, he had his BKB up again there. Interesting, he didn't actually go to use it.
Well, I mean,
without Leshrac for a good 6.5 minutes now. Roshan does fall, so they've got Aegis and Cheese over on that, over on the Gyrocopter, as well as Spirit Breaker. Shackle Shot is going to land though, glimpse back as well. The Cat of Dazzle dead instant. No, the Grave at the very last second. Tarvo's gone though. As the Dazzle, no TP scroll, and the gem given away. Oh, Gyro. 5 seconds until that hookshot's back up. Shackle is going to be launched, but not going to find the latch onto the two behind. Now Pods traps him in. 40R has the Satanic. Living through it all, he's still got the damage output, but it's going to be down to his second life now. And surely, he's going to die twice. And there's no real survival rate here.
Naga! Oh my gosh, she wanted to go for some miracle Force Staff play, and instead she ends up feeding. Now, 2 of the 5 heroes that are dead right now do have buyback, and the creeps are really well pushed in. I mean, you can see them, lines just across the map here. All these Radiant creep waves are preventing the backdoor protection from being broken, so objective gaming is not really in the hands of Void Boys, but still, losing out the Naga Siren right there, it's just like you don't even have the chance to have fate over what happens to your buildings. You don't have the Mirror Image Riptide push. It's, I mean, Void Boys still take a tremendous fight on the back of it. Tavo walks away with Cheese, which he'll give to one of his cores. But I guess Void Boys' really big problem right now is sieging. I think the Wind Ranger needs a Mjolnir, most likely, to deal with all these creep waves and do more damage in the fights, and from there, they just need to take even more. I mean, obviously, Leshrac being 2 Bloodstone charges is a really good thing for Void Boys, but they need to continue to ride that momentum.
Now, Cheese is on the courier, but how often... that's like Roshan number 5, right? Number 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or...
5, I would say, but...
I thought it was 5, but... How many times have we seen Void Boys actually be in the situation that paiN have just been in, where they get Roshan, they get Aegis of the Immortal, they maybe get a Cheese, but then they lose it almost instantly. They go in there and the reward is to kill Roshan and get those shiny little items that give you basically a secondary life, but then the risk is that you lose people as well, and now you're going to lose Leshrac again?
That pickoff could actually decide the game.
88 seconds without him, and now Tavo is actually trapped in the Great Cogs from that clockwork. He's chased down and tracked. The Grave keeps him alive for a little bit longer, but that should just be the Bounty Hunter finishing him off. Meanwhile, on the other side, Wind Ranger gets a kill onto the Dazzle. So what are we looking at? 3 dead with no buybacks. Gyrocopter and Naga, the last one standing. We've seen how, well Gyrocopter can fight 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4. But if he's 1 versus 5 against a Static Storm, so he cannot Satanic or BKB against hookshots multiple times, This is going to be a very difficult hold for paiN Gaming. They've almost given up what massive lead they had. One Rax up, but now they're going to be bouncing it out. Void Boys take a Rax of their own down in the spot lane, and take a look at 4DR. He's got 4 salves over in his stash, but what use are they when your Rax are being destroyed?
He did just consume a Moon Shard, so he's got the attack speed, but he still only gets 6 Black Cannon shots, and that's what it comes down to, is what he can do with those 6 shots to make it count. Without a Rapier, it doesn't seem like enough. I mean, what would they give for a Naga Siren to actually have that Radiance we were talking about right now, where they could actually delay the creep push and just pull the waves back, illusion after illusion?
Oh, she's building an Aghanim Scepter, I guess, point booster.
Yeah, but
Octarine Core isn't great until you have that Radiance, but not sure if the game's going to last long enough for it to actually finish it off. Because Wind Ranger with a Focus Fire, Song of the Siren, just to slow things down a little bit here.
It's like just getting the Leshrac respawn there. It's all in on this Leshrac. He's got Cheese, he's got BKB. He better not get caught in Static Storm. If Disruptor just walks in, blinks in, and disrupts or Static Storms him, then that could be pretty much the entire game. But as it stands right now, we've got 3 racks down for paiN Gaming side. The creep waves are hitting onto the last remaining tier 4 in Void Boys base. And we're seeing BOTs and BOTs level 2 picked up to try to deal with this constant pressure from that lane. But still, overall, Void Boys take a tremendous lead in this game. And they actually just picked up a refresher on Zeus, so they've got that major cooldown to work with. And Naga buys out at 78 minutes for this Aghanim Scepter. It better pay for itself, or that one pickoff could cost them.
What's the percent? Is it 6%? Yeah, 6% Scepter HP regen. It's pretty good with the tanky-ass heroes you've got, but it depends on the timing that you use it as well, obviously. If she gets caught out, that's it, done. Now,
Exactly.
Gyrocopter has 5,300 gold. Sanjin is still there to be sold. Does he put himself in a
They're
similar
all out of
situation?
gems, actually. No gem of True Sight, so it's very possible the Naga Siren could be picked off first, and if that happens... Oh my. Oh, and even better, the fact that Void Boys have the Bounty Hunter at this stage in the game means that when they pop a track on a hero, they can see how much gold they have. So you look at current gold, you see Dazzle and the Naga Siren have almost nothing, they will know with 100% certainty that buyback isn't there.
Pushed out of the spot lane, but... Gyro. Is it time? Is it time for the big rapier?
Absolutely.
How much does he need for buyback? He's got 3,400 surplus. Sanjin Yasha, how much does that give you when you sell it? 2,050? So he's got 5,600. He needs another 600 gold to get a rapier and have buyback on top of it. Not too far away. Not too far away at all. Still freaking scary though when you're forced in, like, you know, 5, 6, 7 minutes ago, you would not really have thought paiN would be forced into buying a rapier. It would kind of be like, oh yeah, we'll buy a rapier and it'll finish the game. We'll be in a great position to actually just go in and destroy the rest of Void Boys. But now, 4DR is getting soloed by a Bounty Hunter, down to half HP.
And they scout everybody else out too, so now they know if they can make their move, and if they do, who do they focus? The track is also giving a lot of good vision. They need to split away from that, because right now they can they can see everything. Rocket Flare, Thunder God's Wrath, the track vision, they completely understand where paiN are at in the game right now, and this is going to enable Void Boys to make a really good call for the next fight. BOT's level 2,
Yeah.
No rapier. This guy is attacking fast, he's tanking up a storm. But when it comes down to it, he's only got 6 flat cannon shots, and now I don't think that they're going to be sufficient. I mean, he does what, 170? No, he does more than that. He does, whoa, he does 174 base damage. Adding that in, you get 320 overall damage. I mean, that's nice. Hitting that 6 times is solid.
Honestly, it's nothing. Like, 80 minutes in, that's nothing. Fly has been caught though. He's got his Yule Scepter, maybe a blink away, but... most likely just a suicide from the Bloodstone.
55 seconds and counting, but they're going to push out top lane and try to drag it out further. We're already 80 minutes into this game, and here's where I want to talk about one other thing that I wasn't sure if it was worth noting, but yeah. We have level 16 Naga starting to level 18 Dazzle. And you were talking about that like, oh man, they're so far behind in terms of experience. But honestly, as a support player, I feel like once you hit level 16,
that's it.
You'd rather your experience stopped flowing. You're like, hey, give me the level 16 death timer. Give me the quicker respawn, the lesser buyback cost. Give me just an ease of use where I can maybe take a sacrifice for my team and still come back in a reasonable amount of time. Oh, nice glimpse back on the gyrocopter. He just BOT level 2'd to the front line, and now they can't even dream of pushing when the Zeus is down.
Now, in that situation, I think the 4DR actually goes and pushes mid-creep wave at least once, just to push it in towards that tier 3, because those melee creeps, they're hefty beasts. They're just wailing away at these radiant creeps, and there's still a way to hold it. Looks like the Dazzle graped himself. I'm not sure what was going on down there. Maybe Xuan. That's that bounty hunter. Jumps forward with E-Blade and Dagon. Yeah, they're on cooldown.
This guy, is he actually using the set too? Like, this is the cutthroat set, and it's like, okay, no, it's not the one that was like has gun blades or whatever the heck. There is one cosmetic that does that.
Yeah.
But still, he is pretty much wielding a shotgun at this point. He's just got one in each hand, popping them off, and the Dazzle is hurting for it, but he's still kicking for now, and he has to get another gem.
Then you look back at the Zeus, someone who had a relatively rough sort of mid-game, I guess. Like, early game he did well, he got an early Midas, but after that he died, brought back, died again quite a few times. Now he might even die for his efforts up at top. He's got no suicide, and with another strike after charge. BKB was used by the Spirit Breaker, but since it's down to 5 seconds, not such a big deal. But I was actually gonna...
Juan, what is he gonna do? He doesn't have to be here for like a TP scroll or anything. He's got BOT's level 2. So what he's looking for is, I mean, if not a courier, then maybe a TP cancel in the base. It's really hard to describe what he could be finding in this position, but he's just keeping that option open in case something just presents itself.
I think it's a good spot for the Naga to be in. If she's looking at the bot lane and sees the full creep wave coming, Naga would, naturally be sitting in her base, sending illusions out. So I think that's what he's looking for. But maybe the Spirit Breaker or Joe or the Leshrac or someone like that doing a similar thing. But in fact, paiN have smoked up. They've got 4 heroes here behind the gyrocopter.
And no Zeus ulti to scout it.
Scary. Are they going to go up to the high ground at top and actually wrap around onto this tier 3? They're pinging it out. They're going to be looking for a target up here. Hookshot, though, has already caught out the gyrocopter 4DR. The Song of the Siren holds it out for now as the Leshrac's going in. E-Blade, Dagon, no, not just yet. Xuan's held out. The Splitter's not going to land. And Blink Dagger away from the Wind Ranger. Shackle Shot not being thrown out just yet. The Ensnare does hold the clockwork in place, but that's a tier 3. Slowly but surely, that's a tier 3. Glimpse back into the Static Storm, and he's not throwing it. Tavo just walks himself out, but not too far as the hookshot comes through. The Wind Ranger, Static Storm not doing a damn thing. Wind Ranger's gone. She's got buyback and will use it now to return to the fight. Leshrac and Gyrocopter going ham on these racks, but CYS dropping low in the shackle. Oh, what? How the hell did that land? 40R tracked up to his own teammate and dropping low. He's going to get taken out. The Satanic keeping him alive for now, but it's not long enough. Leshrac has returned in to try and battle through it all. The Nether Strike actually catches the long-ass range on that, and 40R's back in as well. Leshrac and the Gyrocopter going in on this clockwork. Triple buyback from them. The Wind Ranger's down and out, so 120 seconds without the Wind Ranger. They're going to have to try and go for tier 4s. The Song to heal up and hold back Xuan. What the fuck was that shackle shot, Blaze?
I don't even know. It's a Light of Heaven Dream Shackle is what it is, but it's not going to be enough for them to actually do sufficient damage. They can kill them once, they can kill them twice, but with the buybacks, with the cheese, they just have so many extra health pools that they can throw bodies at the Dire base, and now only one buyback remains on the Zeus for Void Boys, and they can't use that to win the game. They are just being herded into their well while the Gyrocopter takes down the throne.
85 minutes, and the game is over. Game number 1 of this best of 3 between paiN Gaming and Void Boys. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm looking at the graphs, and it seems like so long ago it was zigzagging back and forth for either side, but in the end, it was this minuscule lead that was being traded back and forth. It never broke beyond 6,000 net worth, and then suddenly in these last 5 to 10 minutes, we've been plummeting towards 20k. I mean, really, paiN have stuck it out. They went in for the long haul, and they were able to execute well enough to push forward here.